For those of you listening on the pod.
Welcome into hour 2. All right, boys, let's get into some Jordan Love talk here, man. Let's get you an update going into we're going into week 7, right? Am I thinking right, guys? It's already it's crazy to think about. It's already week 7.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. So let's look at some of these analytics and a little bit more tape here for Jordan Love. Again, we'll break it down extensively tomorrow on Chalk Talk. But Kevin Cole over on X, shout out to him, said updated quarterback PFF grading and efficiency, which is EPA per play, minimum of 100 dropbacks through week 6. When you look at it here, guys, notice on the left side running vertically, you got EPA per play. On the bottom, running from left to right, you got PFF offensive grade. So you're taking 2 different metrics, right? 2 different measurements of these quarterbacks. You want to be in the upper right. You want to be good at both, essentially. You see Jordan Love right up there towards the top. If you were to look at this chart and say, okay, which quarterbacks are better, I feel comfortable saying that Sam Darnold and Drake May are playing a little bit better football than Jordan Love right now. However, I want to say Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, those guys playing great football as well. To me right now, Baker Mayfield has the stats. But again, that's why I like EPA per play. And I also like PFF offensive grade because it gives you a little bit different view on it, right? Sometimes the stats can be inflated. You know, who knows? Maybe Baker Mayfield, 3 of his touchdown passes were 2-yard screen passes where he didn't do anything but just a little flip, right? Not saying that's the case, but sometimes those numbers can really skew you into thinking someone's playing much better than others. I think Baker is having an MVP caliber year. Don't get me wrong. However, when you look at some of the other metrics here, man, Jordan Love is just playing with his hair on fire. I don't think people understand, Jacob, just how good Jordan Love has been this year. And we're going to talk third down here in a second. But what do you think about these metrics here? EPA per play, offensive grade, Jordan Love right up there at the top. He's definitely top 5 on this chart.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame because I think that if you were to stop maybe like 10 random guys on the street, even if they were all considered NFL fans that follow it pretty consistently, you know what I mean? Like watch every game, watch every week. I don't think that you'd find a lot of people that would put Jordan Love in the top 5 of the rankings. I just don't. And again, to the point of whoever made that comment earlier, a lot of that I believe is driven by the national media. The media decides who the kingmakers they're going to make, the stories they want to cover. They're the ones that are going to decide whether or not you see Taylor Swift in the box 37 times during a game. They're going to just shift narratives to a point where it just kind of is almost sickening if you are more than I'd say a casual fan and you really dive into the analytics and the numbers, the stats, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to sit here as a cool, confident type of fan and just think like, okay, if you guys, because, let's look a little bit farther down that. You see guys like Herbert, you see guys like Goff, Mahomes, Stroud, Murray, Williams, all these guys that have been touted up and talked about for a very long time is that they are the top of the top, upper echelon. I saw a bunch of, if you want to call them celebrities or high profile people tweeting out their quarterback rankings. And all of a sudden Mahomes is at the top again because he wins a game, at the end. It's just like, dude, I really don't like the kind of rat race where it seems like we got to make this guy the top, this guy's the best. I feel like that should be done at the end of the year. And obviously that's what's going to get clicks. That's going to get likes. It's going to get views throughout the season. And it's intriguing to watch. And it's fun to watch the race of, especially when it's anytime you're talking about quarterback statistics or anything like that. That's kind of what people gravitate to. But we got to realize that Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, if not a top 3. And the amount of love that he does not get should be, it's kind of criminal.
Tim, what do you think about these numbers here, man?
I mean, to just add on to Jacob's point, we're going into week 7, guys. Let's have this conversation in another 3 or 4 or 5 weeks and see where he's at. I don't want to make sweeping judgments at this point in the season. You guys know I've been a J Love stan since day one, since he was backing up 12. And I think we're going to see that this year, how he finishes this season. He's going to remain at the top of charts like this,
Mm-hmm. Nick McSwain in the chat says people were saying Love is carrying LaFleur and LaFleur is holding Love back. They go hand in hand. They work very well together. Again, this is kind of the whole Belichick, Tom Brady conversation, right? The old Tom Brady, Bill Belichick conversation. You ask both of them, they couldn't have done it without each other. Well, Tom Brady did it without him. Tom Brady literally cherry-picked a top 3 offense in the league that was already built and said, Gronk, come with me. And they went down there and won a Super Bowl. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled an NBA move is what he did. Right. So, the people that still don't understand, go back to the first 3 Super Bowls they won in New England and tell me Tom Brady was the reason they won. It was bad. He was a young quarterback, and Belichick's defenses were really carrying the load there. So again, I think they go hand in hand as well. I think that was very well said. Let me show you guys a play here. Again, if you're not getting excited about Jordan Love, that's cool, man. People, hey, look, you got your right to fan how you want to fan. The stuff I'm seeing on tape is unbelievable. Once again, I got to be careful here because I don't want the stream to be taken down and then everybody have to hop back in here on a separate stream. But said Jordan Love with an unbelievably clutch throw here while getting drilled in the face. 4th quarter, 3rd and 8, 2:32 to play. So the game is still on the line here, guys, right? 3rd and 8. Watch this play. This is unbelievable. Watch him. Fade back. Going to roll left. Look at this. Watch him take this hit. Wait. Bang. Look at the ball. Nose down. Matthew Golden. You can't throw that ball any better. I mean, that's him rolling to his left. One more time here. Rolling to his left. And watch how he torques his body. That looks just like Aaron Rodgers, dude.
That's crazy.
If we go back, again, I want to just get the still frame here when he lets this thing go. Look at that right there. I paused for dramatic effect. Like, that dude is unbelievable. He's playing outside of his mind right now with the placement of these balls, man.
Just like Soder's saying here, moving left to throw, with your right hand is extremely difficult to do. And you don't do it if you're not getting those hips right and your legs underneath you the right way.
You're moving left, throwing across your body, and leading the guy to the left with the hand. Look at where the hand is on him, guys. Like, I don't even know how you got this pass off. And what's crazy, I'm going to, one more time, we'll probably get in trouble. I don't care. Watch how he hesitates and does a hop. He's giving Matthew Golden just another say. And listen, kudos to Matthew Golden as well. Matthew Golden, this was a scramble drill. This is what he was talking about in the post-game presser where he was like, yeah, we worked on scramble drill. When you start to see this stuff come together, this is Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson type stuff, right? Coach Lynn says, look at the footwork right before the throw. Watch his feet. Just focus on his feet right here. Watch him get squared up. Watch this. Bang. Let it go. And that wrist snap is unbelievable, man. And again, look at the placement of the ball. I mean, Matthew Golden didn't have to adjust at all. Look at where that ball's thrown. Unbelievable. So
yeah, it's funny that I could see that you were going there, Clayton, and obviously Coach saw the same thing. It's hard enough to roll left and throw with the right hand across your body, but the way he did it was almost like a hybrid crow step from like how Rodgers used to do the crow step. He was doing it laterally while like throwing across his body. And like you said, the torque he's able to get on that ball, just basically look at the flick of the wrist, just kind of effortless. It's impressive, man.
Jarrell with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says that throw is beautiful. To me, it's a top 5 throw Jordan Love's made. And I'm talking about it's in the group of the throw to Jaden Reed. Remember the deep shot, the whatever double, triple coverage. I mean, just put it right in the basket. Remember the throw down the seam. Still to this day, the fastest thrown ball in the next gen era that's been clocked at 61 mile an hour, where you hit Tucker Kraft, split the safeties in the end zone. There's a number of throws that already in just 3 years playing quarterback that you see Jordan has made. He's already creating. Listen, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer. It's going to be a long time before he earns the right to be called a Hall of Famer if he ever does. However, those are the type of throws that makes your highlight reel when you get inducted in the Hall of Fame right there. It is. So thank you for that super chat, Jarrell. Really appreciate it. I love what Joe said here too. And that was called game. That throw right there was, the Cincinnati Bengals were like, crap. It's over now. When they're making throws
there
like
is
that.
Your dagger.
Just going to say, Tim, we got to get that drop. That's be a good drop.
Yes, we got it. That's a great. Let me write it down right now, man.
There we go.
Yeah. Dagger drop. Y'all don't let me forget that, all right?
While we're in a little break here, Fishy Things from earlier, he said he was excited to watch the breakdown for tomorrow. He says, Clayton can break down tape like fat kids eat birthday cake. I tell you what.
Tell you what, Clayton does better than break down tape. He eats birthday cake. I'm just telling you right now, man. Cake and ice cream, that's my jam right there. So, all right. Since we're talking about third downs, Clint says, don't forget that. So at NFL_talk_sports tweeted this out. Packers quarterback Jordan Love is one, if not I think you meant one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL on third down. So these are third down numbers for Jordan Love this year. 14 completions of 15 plus air yards. That's the most in the NFL. That's what you call a big game hunter, right? 89.5 PFF passing grade, second in the NFL on third down. 9.4 yards per attempt on third down. That's second best in the NFL. And a 51.5% conversion percentage. By the way, that leads all quarterbacks in the National Football League right now. So when you peel back layer after layer, we've covered EPA, EPA statistics. We've talked about the PFF offensive grade, his completion percentage. If Ryan was correct, he said he's over 70% now on the year. Guys, you're talking about a guy who, when we drafted him, it was, he's got accuracy issues, just like Josh Allen, right? He's got to work on the accuracy. He is quickly becoming one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. When you get the accuracy down, and then you couple that, Tim, with the fact that he's using his legs to extend plays and make that, like he used his legs to make that throw just now. We're not even talking about him using his legs to pick up first downs, right? Which he's been way more effective. I think they said he's already surpassed his rushing yards from last year already to this point this year, if I understood that stat correctly.
For sure. And we've seen it already. We've seen him using his feet a lot more to extend plays and, pick up yardage. And when you talk about third downs with this team, we've had our share of 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 15s with penalties and things like that. So you see, 14 completions of 15 yards or more. I mean, you got to convert on third down. You will live and die on third down in the NFL. It's a drive killer if you cannot convert. And these aren't 3rd and 3s. These are 3rd and longs, and better than 50%, 51.5% conversion, leading the league. This is how this team is going to get through the gauntlet of this schedule, is being able to convert on third down. And I think it's a testament to what you said, Clayton. Clearly, he's developing as we thought he would develop, right? He's at this point where things are all kind of coming together for him, and it's going to be a hell of a ride down the stretch this year.
No, it is, man. Third downs are huge. Every time I hear a quarterback excelling at third down and versus the blitz, which I don't know how Jordan's against the blitz. Against the blitz, I'm not sure. He may be great. He may be bad. I don't know. But third down statistics and against the blitz statistics, I immediately go back to 2010, and that was the thing that separated Rodgers. His numbers didn't look overall great. I think it was like 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, something like that. Mm-hmm. But boy, oh boy, on third down and when the pressure or when he got blitzed, he cut people up, man, no doubt. We had another question in here that asked, I think it was, let me find it here. There we go. Joe Pack said, wait, Love hit 70%. I'm going to pull up the numbers here for you real quick, Joe. Check this out. It surprised me, too, when I heard Ryan mention that on the Packernet podcast. I knew he was close, but here you see this is the league leaders in completion percentage. Jared Goff, 75. Drake May, 73. Daniel Jones, 71. Dak Prescott, 71. Lamar Jackson, 71. Much fewer attempts, obviously, only 95 attempts. So if you were to go 100 attempts, you'd knock him off this list for the year. CJ Stroud, 70. Sam Darnold, 70. And yes, Jordan Love is officially 70.1% completion percentage this year.
That is officially higher than
65%.
65%. That's what exactly. And here's the important stat, Tim. Some of these guys are dink and dunkers, right? Jordan Love, like we said, he's leading the league or top 3 in the league in yards per attempt. It's what we call a big game hunter. He's looking down the field. You're seeing him throw across his body 30 yards down the field. And some of these guys have a high completion percentage because they're just dinking and dunking. Jared Goff's one of those guys, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, pretty cool, man. I'm sure we could find in here somewhere the air yards. I don't know if it's on this one or not. I'm not going to waste airtime trying to find it. But again, Jordan Love playing really, really good on third down. And obviously this is the most accurate we've seen him in his young career. So the Jordan Love haters that used to be in the chat, you notice you don't see them much anymore, do you, boys? You just don't see them. So
getting pretty quiet.
It is. We're going to go one more clip, and I hope we don't get dinged. But I tweeted this out. Jordan Love looking a little like 1996 Brett Favre, buying time on this 29-yard gain. All right, this is going to be Jordan Love, okay, to, I think, Josh Jacobs. Once again, we just showed you him rolling to his left and buying time and then squaring up, throwing a dot with pressure in his face, right, 30 yards down the field. Check out this play. Tell me this don't remind you of Favre back in the day when he'd run around in the pocket. Watch this. Gonna step up, scatter a little juke, whoop, and all of a sudden it turns into a 29-yard game. think it was 29 or 26. Watch this. This right here is the best thing. Look at that. Telling you, man.
What we were talking about with Josh Jacobs earlier in the show, him making himself available like that. I mean, that's kind of scramble drill a little bit too, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you roll it, watch him, Tim. Back to stop, three-step drop. All right, he's already getting pressure on the right side. He's got to step up right here. He's kind of looking to scramble. Notice they got a touch spy going, right? We talk about that all the time. So he wants to go out right, but I guarantee he sees the touch spy. He also sees this defender here. So what's he do? You know what? He's got the huevos. Not a lot of quarterbacks have the huevos to square back up, sit in the pocket. You see that little juke in the pocket?
Yep.
And now right here, it's just a matter of getting your throwing window over this defender now, who I'm sure is a big body defensive lineman. You know you've got a defender breaking on Jacobs here, and watch him just a little flick of the wrist. Whoop. Boom. He's out the gate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Special, man.
Great adjustment by Jacobs too on that too. Just to kind of bail your quarterback. Like he's making a play, you got to make a play. Both of them together combined, and it's an absolute game changer.
Great work by Jordan Morgan there too.
Yeah,
like I don't know, was that TJ? It looked like TJ Slayton he was working against there on that play.
I think it might have been. Yeah. So again, there's your Jordan Love talk. Just wanted to break that down real quick. We had a defensive question here earlier. I think I marked it. I want to hit it real quick. Here we go. Nick McSwain said, Clayton, have you noticed the defense has been elite in the first half of games, but struggling more in the second half? Have you noticed anything while going through the tape? I haven't noticed anything specifically, Nick. All right. However, the reason you see that happening, in my opinion, is called adjustments. And also, we're playing with a lead, it feels like, the majority of the time. You know, last year, Tim, it felt like we were playing from behind all year, right? This year, it's more so we're playing with more of a lead. So what I mean by that, Nick, is when you're playing with a lead going into the second half, you guys know I break the game down into 3 sections. I didn't create this. I learned this from studying Bill Walsh, studying Michael Lombardi, studying Bill Belichick, right? The first quarter is all about gathering information. All right. You just did a scout. You set your whole organization up, your coaches, your scouting department, to scout your upcoming opponents' last 4 matchups. You got a 4-game saturation plus your last 2 head-to-head against that team or those specific coordinators, right? So you got a 6-game saturation scouting that team. You formulate a game plan. Here's how we're going to attack them, all right? Who are their Tuesday players? These are the things we do with the game plan in the Patreon group every week. So who are their Tuesday players, all right? What is it they like to do on offense? What is it like they do on defense in the last 4 games, previous 4 games, and your last 2 head-to-heads? And then you create, okay, here are the passing concepts. Here are the route combinations we're going to use to attack the defense they like to call. How often do they blitz? What packages do they blitz out of? And then you go over to offense or on defense and you're studying their offense. What kind of wide receiver splits? Do they run a lot of nasty splits? Do they go more like a Baylor split, right? When this receiver is 3 yards tighter on a split, what's the percentage chances of that being an outside zone run to that side or the opposite side? You got all these tendencies. All of that goes into the game plan. So you formulate this game plan and you come out in the first quarter and you got to ask yourself by the end of the first quarter, did we get the game plan right? Have they already adjusted? What are they doing? Are we being successful or not? In that case, let's put yourself in Jeff Hafley's shoes for a minute, Nick. First half went great, right? Couldn't win any better. So what do? Do you go out in the second half and change anything? No. You keep going, right? Okay, this is working. When they make the adjustment, this goes to the next part of the game. The second and third quarter are about 2 things. It's about adjusting to the game plan. How have they adjusted and how do you adjust to their adjustments, and controlling the middle lane? Those are your 2 ultimate goals in the second to third quarters. Okay, first quarter, gather information. Second to third quarter is adjusting and controlling the middle lane. And then the fourth quarter is a standalone game. Okay, what that means is forget everything that's happened in the game. The fourth quarter is, where are we at now after all the adjustments? Let's treat this fourth quarter like it's its own game. Forget what's worked and what hasn't worked up to this point. What do you think you need to do to win this ball game? I say that because if you're playing with the lead coming out of halftime, you don't want to outthink yourself. Keep doing what's working. What I seen with Cincinnati was they started running spot routes. And what that means is we're playing everything over the top. We're playing everything a lot of cover 3 look, right? A lot of middle field close, cover 3, a little bit more cover 6. So that was our game plan going into the game. So you're keeping everything underneath. Well, what did they do? When they adjusted, they said, okay, we've been dinking and dunking. Let's go to the midline now. Let's go to that 7 to 15-yard route and try to run some spot routes. And they started moving the ball. And then guess what happened? When we would start to tighten the coverage inside, he would hammer that out route threading the needle to Jamar Chase on the outs. So you watch it, and listen, I'm going to be an ass for a minute. The casual fan watches that and goes, "Go Berries, DC again. We're just playing off. We're playing soft." No, you're making sure they don't hit you over the top, and you're making them use every inch of the field. And guess what? I say it every week in our chat. Do I not, guys?
I was just gonna say it. It's playing the clock.
The clock becomes your opponent when you're playing with a lead. At some point, the clock becomes your opponent. You could give a rat's ass about the end stat line. You could give a rat's ass about the final score, other than you got one more point than them. That's all that matters. So I think that's what's happening. I don't think it's necessarily we're doing anything specifically bad. I think that Jeff Hafley's looking up and going, boys, you play just like Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game. You play to win this specific game. What do you need to do to come out on top here? And that's why you got fans that are just kicking and screaming and crying on the floor going, we can't beat a bad team by 20 points. I don't care. I'd rather you not beat them by 20 points and keep the gun in the holster and keep those extra bullets for the next week.
And keep those plays off of tape.
Bingo.
Yeah.
They don't think about that, though. They don't think about that. So they're the same people playing Madden running the same two plays over and over on rookie level. You know what I mean?
One thing we definitely know with Hafley's defense, I think it's clear at least this point of the season that he's asking our guys to play more man. We have mixed in more man coverage this year. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, man, there were still some positives that came out of that game on defense. Look at this shot right here. I want to give a shout out to Jacob Morley. If you guys are not following Jacob Morley, man, he is one of the best follows on Twitter. Look at that shot of Carrington going up and swatting that ball away from Jamar Chase. How cool is that? I love it. I love what he did. He just put gritty. That's all. Just gritty. That's it. Right. So again, was it a perfect game by the defense? No. But you had a handful of plays like this that were unbelievable. Let me give you another one real quick, and we're going to have to hit the team rankings another day. We're obviously going to be out of time, but I want to show you guys this as well. Lucas Van Ness's sack. All right, I tweeted this out. We got to be careful again. We'll show it one, maybe two times here. So Lucas Van Ness is going to line up in a wide 9 on this side of the field, right? He's over here. Okay, so you see, notice too, on the other side, they have a 3-point stance. They have Van Ness just kind of standing up. Not that it matters that much. It is what it is. But remember how everybody said, not everybody, but, majority of the LVN haters, all he's got's a bull rush. All he's got's a bull rush. Watch this speed and dip right here. What he's going to do is win with speed outside. And notice he does not do a dip and rip. When you rip, they can hold you. So notice how he just gets his body lower. He doesn't rip. He just if you guys are wondering what a rip move is, outside shoulder, typically you'll do a swat, right? A swat or a punch and rip. What you're doing is you're trying to get to the outside. If you dip under, you can take your arm and just throw an uppercut. When you throw that uppercut like that, they can hook you. And the reason they allow them to hold like that is because what defenders were doing was they were intentionally just grabbing when the offensive player would go to block, they would hook their arm, and now they're getting called for a hold. That's why the rule was put in place. I've done a little bit of research on that because I didn't understand it either. I'm not saying I agree with the rule change. It is what it is. However, this is how you combat that. And I love the fact that DeMarcus Covington's working on this because Rashawn Gary was bad about getting held with the rip move. Not a hold any longer. You're seeing more of this. Watch LVN, how quick he is off the line, and then watch him get low right here without ripping. This is unbelievable. See how he didn't rip? That is so fast off the line. Watch it again here. Watch him real quick. Let me go slow motion because it is pretty fast. Let's do it this way real quick. Watch him come off the line and just watch how quick and how agile he gets down. Look at this. No rip. See how he's under, but he didn't rip up. I'm telling you, what he has now outside of his bull rush, LVN now has a speed and dip move.
Smoking left tackles like lung darts, baby.
Like, that's the thing coming out. He's not supposed to have that type of bend, right?
Right.
He is just a stick figure that can rush and push you basically back into the quarterback. And I agree with you, Clayton. That is pretty encouraging to see. And it makes me I don't know if you guys covered this on any other pod that I maybe had missed, but I thought I seen some rumors that they were getting ready to maybe possibly listen to some trade talk about Enigbare. I believe that the 49ers and somebody else had reached out with certain, I don't know if they were actual solid offers, but I'm just really glad because LVN got hurt right after that sack, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're pending an MRI. I don't know if you guys got any news on that today, but it sounded like Matt, again, was somewhat hopeful that he'd be coming back sooner than later. What a difference.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
The doctor, but that's another case, like you said, Clayton, the LVN haters. they've kind of quieted down a little bit in the chat and in the comments and in the just overall media because, like we said, he was a guy that needs to be given some time, a little bit of a long leash to kind of develop his skill set and look exactly what happened. Like exactly what you just said. He went in there with maybe a one-trick pony, and now he's got a whole bag, like Emilio on the job site. He's got tons of tools in that bag.
And what gets me here, Tim, is I was hearing former players this week on Sports Talk, former NFL players, saying they didn't understand what happened to the pass rush this week. How do you not get pressure, right? It's like, what do you want them to do? The ball
they want a sack every time, every single time. If it's not a sack, if they're not trying to sack the quarterback, that they're upset. That's that type of fan right there.
And the thing that got me, and again, these are former players. The thing that got me was it was just the most random comments, and it was just, yeah, you got to win your one-on-ones. They're not winning their one-on-ones, and I literally said out loud listening. I said to myself, you didn't watch the tape. You think that every fan is listening to you on the radio and that they don't watch the tape, so therefore you can just speak out your ass and they won't check. If you watch that game, what you seen was the ball coming out like that.
It was like 2.38 seconds was his average time to throw, which is insane.
And there was one play, and Ryan talked about it. Warren Brinson comes untouched in the A-gap, untouched, and the ball still gets out. What do you expect Warren Brinson to do there? He can't listen. He can't hit a damn time warp, right? Like you can't just, all of a sudden, it's like Mario Brothers. Let me slide down the pipe real quick. And, yeah, we're there. We made the play. It's just, and I'm going, you played in the NFL. And that's where I've got to just step back and go, he didn't watch the tape. That's all it was. He watched the TV copy, or he was at the stadium and he didn't watch the tape. Because if you
talk about the ball getting out quick, that's exactly why they traded for Flacco. Browning would have got absolutely lit up in this game.
Yeah.
So, and again, why is it open underneath? We just told you why it was open underneath. You're protecting against the shot plays. We're going to jump out to an early lead, and sooner or later, you're going to have to start going down the field and taking shots, right? Or you're going to run out of time. And in their case, they ran out of time. It's that simple. But when you look at the defensive numbers here, here's Holmes in the chat. No one has the discipline to watch tape. That's why their expectations will never make sense. It's so true. It's so true. And I was there at one point. There's times I didn't have time to watch the tape, but I'm not going on a nationally broadcast radio station saying, just speaking out of my rear end as if it's, fact. Just crazy. Number one Packer fan. I'm annoyed with the talking heads getting the check to talk emotion and not actual football. And here's what's the thing that bothers me the most, number one Packer fan, is you can tell their meetings, they're coached to do that. They're coached to do that. It's just like, Tim, if anybody knows, and I don't want to speak too much because I don't, once you're, whatever, it is what it is. Tim has experience. Tim knows how that game is played, and that's why he just made that face. And I'll just leave it at that. So.
Tim's seen how the sausage is made.
Anyway.
Exactly. Nobody's listening. So when you're talking about yards per play allowed, the Packers are number 2 in the league right now on defense at 4.4 yards per play allowed. Only Denver is better at a 4.3. So the overall defense, again, yards per play. I believe that was yards. Or I'm sorry, no, points. Was it points per play? Let me make sure I got that right. I could have told you the wrong one here. Hold on just a second. Let me just make sure that we're in the right spot. That might have been scoring defense. Let's see. Was it scoring defense? No. It was yards per play, overall yards per play. So let's go with scoring defense. Let's start there real quick. I apologize. Scoring defense, Green Bay is 8th in the league right now at 0.323 points per play allowed. So you're officially a top 10 defense, right? Far cry from when we played Dallas, where people were making it sound like this defense all of a sudden was just hot garbage and forgot how to play, right? They're just fine. The defense is going to be just fine. So that was your total scoring defense. Now let's go to total defense, opponent yards per play. Again, Green Bay is 2nd in the league at 4.4 yards per play. Guys, that is freaking phenomenal. Phenomenal. And when you look at, like, say, the Lions, right? The Lions are who we're competing against in the North. Look at where the Lions are at here. Boy, they nailing me with these ads. My goodness. Where are the Lions at? Am I overlooking 12th at 5.3? Who do you think has the upper hand on defense right now? Right? Yeah. So, and again, the Bears are kind of hot, Tim, right? They're kind of hot right now. Where are they ranked? Look at their defense. Dead last at 6.5 yards.
Such a good shot.
6.5 yards per play allowed. Now, that's not the only metric that matters, but it's pretty darn important. All right, let's go to rushing defense real quick. Opponent yards per rush attempt. I don't know why they keep showing it. It cracks up every time I see his face, too. Yards per rush attempt. Now, I feel like this is the most important statistic when it comes to run defense. Some people look at yards, rushing yards per game allowed. I think we're number one in it. I could care less about that. That number can be skewed dramatically. I want to know when the team chooses to run the football, how many yards do we typically give up? We're fourth in the league right now at 3.6 yards per carry allowed. The only team better than us is New England. Mike Vrabel turned that defense around quick up there, boy. Seattle, and then, of course, Cleveland, who I know when we lost that game, the haters were trying to convince us that the Cleveland Browns were just a horrible football team, right? They still have the number one rush defense in the league. Now, let's see if we can find Detroit. They're 10th, a little bit better, right? So they're a little bit better at stopping the run than they are just overall defense. Again, if we go down, though, and look at Chicago, 31st in rushing yards per attempt, boys.
Chicago.
Yeah. Get ready to go.
So Ben Johnson, I got to tip my cap to him. The fact that he's won, 3 games in a row, and their defense is that bad, pretty darn impressive. Tells you he's checking the boxes of being a great head coach. It bothers me to say that, but again, if you see it, you got to say it. I think this Matt LaFleur, Ben Johnson rivalry is going to be around for a long time. So there's your rushing defense. And I can come back to these in a minute, guys. I want to get your all's take. I'm just going to run through them real quick. Passing defense, the last one I want to hit. Yards per pass attempt. Can somebody help me here? Who's number one?
High score, what does that mean? Is that bad? Did we break it?
Did I break it?
Who?
Green Bay. 5.1 yards per pass attempt. That is best in the league. They have officially passed Denver in that category. Atlanta is third. LA Chargers fourth. Minnesota Vikings are fifth. Now, Minnesota Vikings, they have the best EPA per dropback. All this stuff matters. You take all this, put it in a pot, and that tells you who's really in the lead. Here's the updated numbers, okay? EPA per dropback, the Vikings are first. The Packers are now at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 in EPA per dropback. So if you take 13th and then you combine that with first in passing yard or yards per pass attempt, probably somewhere around top 5, maybe top 7-ish in terms of passing defense. So that's a little long-winded. I apologize, guys, but I want to get all those in so I can get your take. How do you feel about the defense? Tim, you're our defensive guy. You go first, man. I feel like we're in a really good spot right now.
I do too, and I think the takeaways are going to come. I think they're going to come in chunks. You know, we're going to get some of those explosive plays defensively. Coach Covington is really a hands-on, one-on-one type of guy when he needs to be with these players, and I don't think anyone doesn't get the attention they need as they're developing in this scheme. And I've seen Hafley really just let Coach Covington and Coach Ogabasi and the Ball King just work with this group and allow these guys to get better throughout the season. And I think we're seeing it slowly but surely because, like I say, that gauntlet really after week 9, week 10, you got Philly coming to town in November. Happy birthday, Marine Corps. And I'm telling you, after that point in the season, this defense is going to have to really be at the top of their game to get us over the hump and close out this year good. So I have full faith in what Hafley and Coach Covington are doing with the boys.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah.
What do you think?
First off, Bates giving a little love. Hoorah, going on to the Marines there. I love that. This is another stat where I think a lot of Packer fans would be blindsided, get hit across the face with it while they're talking a bunch of smack. This defense, I hate saying it. Would you agree, Clayton, that it's a bend but don't break style philosophy, and everybody hates that phrase because of the taste that is left in their mouth from Joe Barry?
What you got to do when you're playing with a lead all the time, right?
Well, and I was going to say the point. That's the point, is that people aren't even thinking about the fact that I think LaFleur said another stat in his press conference that we're like the top defense in the first quarter, slightly a little worse in the second quarter. And then I think it was out of like 120 points that we had scored against us, 80 of them have happened in late third and fourth quarter, which obviously that's not ideal. That's not something that I want to hang my hat on and say, well, we're good at the beginning of the games. What that means is they're making adjustments. And I think that if there's any criticism that maybe needs to be labeled towards, if it's Hafley or the defense in general, is that they seem to be making adjustments to what we're doing, and maybe we're not adjusting in the correct time. But again, you have to take in the same argument to which Tim just said, is we're playing with a lead. Right. We're not trying to go out there and, be a little reckless. We're trying to play calculated football. And if sometimes they want to, I hate the moniker of saying like, well, we're playing to lose or they're playing to tie or all this kind of stuff. No, they're just playing smart football. You can't go out there and be reckless. Like we've seen that before. And what would happen if we go out there and start throwing bombs and chucking stupid, reverses and end routes, which don't get me wrong. Sometimes I don't like certain play calls in certain situations that Matt does, but I would argue that he doesn't necessarily play reckless to the point where it jeopardizes those leads. Does it happen sometimes? That's football, man. It's the NFL. People are going to be able to score and come back on you. All that being said, I'm pretty over the moon. The one other thing I will say is that I think some of the stuff we talked about in the postgame show of saying like, hey, Matt LaFleur needs to literally address either the media or do a public statement of saying somebody's got to tell these refs that Parsons is getting held to a point where it's becoming almost a joke. And I believe I heard a few different reporters yesterday bring that up in the press conference, and Matt didn't poo-poo it. He basically said, yeah, you're right. It's tough when it's blatant. He went on to say that to be fair, sometimes when we see that same kind of stuff on our side, we're happy when there's a no call. But, I think that Matt's being a little more generous, honestly, than I would be at that point, because it's like you can pick out of however many pass snaps, pass rushes that Micah has. I would say that there's over 50% where he's getting blatantly either held. What do you think about that?
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
For me, there's two ways you handle this, right? You send the tape in every week going, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this. You don't do it in the media. That pisses them off. That'll get you fined. It's actually against the rules to talk bad about the officials in the media. But you send the tape into them, the correction tape going, you guys missed a ton of calls. And then you go into your practice and you tell your guys, they're not calling it right now. You hold like a son of a gun. I showed you guys one play just a second ago. You could see the right tackle was holding for us, right? So I think that's what when Matt made that comment, Jacob, that's why I grinned when you said it. Matt was just like, yeah, we're getting away with some too. I think he's starting to coach those guys up going, hey, start grabbing, boys. Yeah. They're not calling it. Start grabbing. If you can't beat them, join them, right? That's the way it works. So, and now what's frustrating is there's going to come a point with one of these dirt bags that we're going to highlight every week, right, Tim? One of these officials are going to get flag happy all of a sudden. And what's going to happen? Matt's going to have to go back to the guys. He's going to continue to send the tape in. He's going to have to go back to the guys and go, all right, guys, we've got to tone it back a little bit. You're massaging that all year long is what you're doing. Now, the casual fans, what they'll do is, fire Matt LaFleur. How are we still having penalties? It's week 9. You knucklehead. Everything is fluid. Everything's fluid throughout the season. These are the things that the coaching staff is constantly adjusting to and working on. It's just like baseball. When you go to a game in baseball, and listen, they may change it. They may change the strike zone where it's just laser. They'll use lasers, whatever, laser, tracking, and it'll be a computer calling balls and strikes. But in the meantime, this happened in high school. When I pitched in high school, we would have our pitching charts from the previous time we played this team. What does that mean? Here's how we attacked each batter. So you guys think we're just in there eating sunflower seeds in the, in between innings, right? And shooting shots at tequila behind the dugout. That ain't what's going on. We're looking at the pitching chart going, our next 6 batters, here's what I did last time. I started him off 2 fastballs, then a curve. He hit the curve the damn thing still ain't landed yet, right? This time I'm going to stay away from the curve and maybe work him up and in with some heat. You're looking at those charts constantly. You know something else we looked at? Who's our ump today? All right, This guy's got a wide strike zone. Let's try to stretch that strike zone out. What's that mean? Don't try to paint the plate. Throw it 2 inches off the plate. He'll probably call it. That's sports, just like the NBA. I'm sure it's the same thing. They get a certain official in. They know they're going to let them play today and be physical. All that comes into effect too. And again,
they don't really play defense in the NBA though, so it doesn't really.
That's true. That's why I stopped watching.
It makes me want to throw up every time. And I don't watch anymore. I can't. I was called a racist because I don't like the NBA. Somebody told me that you're just a racist. I'm like, no, you guys have no clue what good basketball looks like. You need to go back and watch the 90s, bro. I am officially Papal Bailey in that regard. You want to watch good basketball? Go watch those cats play. Yeah. Today is just hot garbage, man. It ain't got a damn thing to do with the color of somebody's skin. That's just the silliest thing I've ever heard.
What do you think about Coach Lynn's comment here? I really thought it makes a lot of sense. He says the officials get graded every game, make it public. That's me, like a PFF for officials, and we wouldn't even have to. The coaches wouldn't have to say nothing. All you'd have to do is go and look at the statistics and the tendencies, and just say okay. And then the NFL quietly says, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? You're calling a ridiculous offsided type of plays over here with these certain penalties." I think that'd be a great step in the right start there. But
I'll tell you something else too. People have said you need full-time officials. They are full-time officials, right? We've kind of talked about this, right? This is what they do. They may have other stuff on the side, so they say, oh, they're not full-time. What I would do is increase the pay and incentivize getting the call right. Meaning, hey guys, whoever grades out the highest, the most correct on your calls, you're going to get paid the most. Well, I'm telling you, man, production base fixes everything. Oh, yeah. It fixes everything. Now,
pay that man his money.
Now, let me say this, and I'm going to be a little bit conspiratorial here, okay? I personally think the league wants the flexibility of having bad calls.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm going to leave it at that. I ain't going to leave it at that. I'm going to go in a little deeper. What I mean by that is if there's two things that happen when officials miss calls, right? First of all, if there's that flexibility of allowing the challenge, how many times have you guys seen a challenge flag thrown or a play get challenged, a call get challenged, and you go, oh, you watch the replay on TV at home and you're like, oh, yeah, that's getting reversed, and they don't reverse it. You're like, right? They want the ability to be able to have the final say. That's just my personal opinion. That, and there was something else I was going with there too. Gosh, I've already forgot now. But they want, the other thing is, what are we doing right now? We're talking about it.
Exactly.
All publicity is good publicity when it comes to sports in general, right? I think Jerry Jones said that one time when he had 3 different crackheads on his 90s NFL team. But
Could be a crackhead.
Tim was on fire
They got on to the wrong stuff.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. We went way over. I apologize, man. Your ladies are going to kill me. All of Jacob's ladies are going to kill me, and Tim's wife's going to kill him. So, there you go. Anything else y'all want to hit before we wrap up, man?
No, that was I thought that was a good discussion. I really appreciate the feedback from the chat. Really cool. Brewers are winning 1-0. So for all of y'all that are waiting for this to get over so you can go watch the Brew Crew, go ahead and cheer them on. And yeah, let's do it.
I want the Brewers to win.
It's 1-1. I jinxed it.
Damn it, Jacob. I want the Brewers to win, but I just wish they could play all the games right now and get it over with. You know what I mean? Let's just get beyond this. Let's get on. So I want it to be just nothing but football season. Baseball was my first love, but boy, football stole that away. I'm telling you, I fell in love with football probably about my sophomore year in high school. I was like, this is just unbelievable. So somebody said it best one time. They said, baseball is America's pastime, but football is America's passion. And I think that's just it's so true, man. So
yeah,
I would agree with that for sure.
Tim, tell them about this awesome charity that we've linked up with, man.
Yeah, we hooked up with Operation Horses Heal. You can go to operationhorsesheal.org/how can I help if you guys want to help support this, doing great things for veterans out there. You know, that is something we're all very passionate about, is giving back to those who give us so much so we can sit here and talk football with you guys, you know. And they do some really good work. Shout out to Rachel and her husband Rooster out there in Westboro, Wisconsin. We're trying to raise some funds so they can get a truck and trailer to help transport these horses directly to veterans and their families at special events, so that these veterans can go on their own self-guided healing journey. Big shout out to United Bates. Bates has done some equine therapy before. He can definitely speak to the benefits that it is. And, you know, each donation that you guys submit is an entry to win that Romy Rome jersey coming up at the end of the month. So you got a few weeks left to donate. Any dollar amount is fine. Please get your donations in. Make sure you put PTA in the comments so we know that you're one of our loyal listeners and supporters. And you can donate as many times as you want. Each donation is one entry to win that autographed white away Romy Rome jersey, courtesy of Packer Fan Total Access. And of course, Clayton and Mandy being so gracious to get us hooked up with that.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to partner up with them over there. And again, if you guys don't know about equine therapy, man, check it out. I had never heard of it. And Tim brought this charity to me and was like, hey, man, what do you think about promoting this? It sounds good. I did a little research. I was like, this is awesome. This is really, really cool, man. You guys know not to get too deep, but the pharmaceutical world that we live in has tormented my family for decades, right? I mean, it's flipped it upside down. I've been pretty vocal about that in the past, overdoses, things like that, friends, family, the whole 9 yards. To find a portion of therapy, especially for the veterans, well, it doesn't get more natural than having them kind of bond with horses and get out and, get some fresh air and do. It's a really, really, really cool setup that they've got. So I think it's awesome. And again, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Tim. All right, that's it, guys. We're out of here. Appreciate y'all so much. Also to our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Got a bunch of people joining. Appreciate y'all supporting the show in that regard. $3 get you access to everything. And we try to get you guys some extra content. Also, this week, we're going to be giving away an autographed rookie Javon Bullard card, arguably his best game to date was this past week. You'll see him on Chalk Talk make 2 different clips. Really excited about that. So I thought, hey, had an awesome game this week. Let's give away an autographed rookie Javon Bullard card. If you're a member, that gets you entered into that giveaway as well. Got all kinds of stuff going on there. So I appreciate you, Clint, Mike Berry, everybody in the chat. You guys were awesome tonight. Also, I want to give a shout out to all the super chats. Mike Hebring, Trey Russ, Jarrell Lee, thank y'all so much for the extra donations, man. It means more than you'll ever know. And Jarrell Lee becoming a member here today as well. So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a wonderful night. Go Brewers. As always, it's going to be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.